Take a moment and reflect on your current life. Do you feel swept up in a current of anxiety, pressure, and uncertainty? In today's world, fueled by the relentless pace of technology, a constant flood of negative news, and unreasonable expectations from all directions, it's easy to feel lost. But what if I told you there's a way of living shaped over thousands of years that can help you regain peace and focus? A philosophy that doesn't just bring meaning to your life, but empowers you to face any challenge. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy originating from Greece and Rome, is not just a collection of abstract ideas, but a practical guide for living. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca have left us timeless teachings that help us navigate life's difficulties with resilience and wisdom. What's most remarkable about this philosophy isn't just its longevity, but how deeply relevant it remains today. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, once wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words aren't just advice, they're a blueprint for life. In a world where we cannot control most events, be it financial storms or personal relationship struggles, the one thing we can control is how we respond. Have you ever thought about the power of calmness? In an argument, when emotions run high, the ability to remain composed and clear-headed isn't just a mark of maturity, but the highest expression of self-mastery. This is the essence of Stoicism: to control what we can and let go of what we cannot. But this doesn't mean living indifferently or ignoring reality. On the contrary, Stoicism invites us to live sincerely, steadfastly, and ready to face life in the most meaningful way possible. If you find these lessons from Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic philosophers empowering, make sure to subscribe to this channel to receive more profound insights like this. Here, we focus on exploring timeless philosophies and helping you apply them to modern life. So, what if you started seeing challenges not as burdens, but as opportunities for growth? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Difficulties are not reason to stop, they are the stepping stones for us to grow. Failures, losses, or disappointments are all valuable lessons if we approach them with an open mind. We will continue sharing inspiring stories and practical lessons from Stoic philosophy to help you discover inner strength in every situation. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to ensure you never miss out on our content. You're not alone in this journey, and Stoicism is a trusted companion for navigating life's challenges. So, what will you choose? Amid the noise of the modern world, can you find peace? Marcus Aurelius managed to do so while ruling an empire. You can too. The question is, are you ready to start this journey? Rule 1. Understanding the impermanence of life. Life is fleeting. Relationships evolve. Seasons change, and the moments we cherish eventually slip away like grains of sand through our fingers. To some, this might sound melancholic, even disheartening. But Stoic philosophy offers a profoundly different perspective. The impermanence of life is not a curse, but a gift. It reminds us to live fully, to appreciate deeply, and to let go gracefully when the time comes. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most celebrated Stoic philosophers, wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not an invitation to despair, but a call to mindfulness. When we understand that everything is temporary, our joys, our sorrows, even the people we love, we gain the clarity to value what we have in the present. Everything in life is in flux. Just as the seasons transition from spring to winter, so too do our relationships, careers, and circumstances. Recognizing this natural rhythm can help us avoid clinging to the illusion of permanence, which often leads to unnecessary suffering. Think of a flowing river. At first glance, it may seem constant, always present, but if you look closer, you'll notice that the water is never the same. It flows continuously, never stagnant. Relationships are much like this river. They flow, change shape, and sometimes even dry up. When we grasp this truth, we become better equipped to embrace the beauty of connection without fearing its eventual transformation. Consider the story of Sarah and Emily, two childhood friends who shared an unbreakable bond for over 2 decades. They experienced everything together: graduations, heartbreaks, and countless nights of laughter. Yet, as they entered different phases of their lives, their paths began to diverge. Sarah moved across the country for her dream job, while Emily stayed behind to build her family. At first, they tried to hold on to their friendship with weekly calls and annual visits. But as time went on, their conversations became less frequent, and the closeness they once shared began to fade. Sarah found herself clinging to the memories, replaying old photos and messages, feeling a deep ache for what was lost. Emily, on the other hand, accepted the natural ebb and flow of their relationship. She cherished the time they had shared, but recognized that their lives had taken different courses. Eventually, Sarah came to understand what Emily had already embraced. The beauty of their friendship was not in its permanence, but in the moments they had created together. By letting go of the need to preserve the past, Sarah found peace and gratitude for what had been. Impermanence teaches us that holding on too tightly often results in more pain than letting go. When we cling to something or someone, we resist the natural course of life. This resistance creates tension, frustration, and heartache. But when we accept that everything is temporary, we can approach life with a sense of openness and freedom. Stoic philosophy encourages us to reflect on impermanence not as a way to detach emotionally, but to deepen our appreciation for the present. As Seneca once said, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." When we embrace impermanence, we live more fully. We savor the laughter of a friend, knowing it won't last forever. We cherish the embrace of a loved one, understanding it is fleeting, and when the time comes to part ways, we can do so with grace, carrying the memories with us instead of the pain of resistance. To internalize the concept of impermanence, try this mental exercise. Visualize a relationship as a river. Close your eyes and picture a river flowing gently before you. Imagine one of your cherished relationships as this river. Notice its curves, its flow, and its movement. Observe the changes. Reflect on how the river changes, how it widens and narrows, how it moves over rocks and through valleys. Think about how your relationship has evolved in a similar way. Release the illusion of control. Imagine trying to hold on to the water. It slips through your fingers, no matter how tightly you try to grasp it. Let this symbolize the futility of clinging to what must naturally change. Express gratitude for the flow. Finally, appreciate the beauty of the river for what it is, a dynamic, ever-changing force of nature. Feel gratitude for the moments you've shared within this relationship, even as you acknowledge its impermanence. By practicing this exercise, you can begin to see relationships not as static entities, but as fluid, evolving experiences. This shift in perspective can free you from the fear of loss and help you cherish each moment more deeply. When we truly grasp the concept of impermanence, life becomes more precious. We stop taking things for granted and start living with intention. Impermanence teaches us to say, "I love you" more often, to forgive more easily, and to be present in the moments that matter most. Instead of mourning what is gone, we can celebrate what was. Instead of fearing the future, we can embrace the present. This is the essence of Stoicism. Not to deny the pain of loss, but to transform it into wisdom, gratitude, and resilience. As you move forward, consider this. How would your life change if you embraced the impermanence of everything around you? Would you love more fiercely, forgive more easily, and live more fully? Understanding the impermanence of life is the first step to freeing yourself from fear and the pain of loss. However, recognizing change is only effective when we learn to control our emotions. When faced with the inevitable fluctuations of life, we need a more powerful tool to maintain calm and clarity, rational thinking. Let us move on to the next section, where we explore how to harness the power of reason to master our emotions and responses, no matter the circumstances. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." But how do we apply this principle to daily life? The answer will be revealed in the next section. Rule 2. Mastering emotions through rational thought. Emotions are powerful forces. They can inspire great actions or lead us into spirals of despair. Yet, according to Stoic philosophy, emotions are not reality. They are interpretations, reactions shaped by our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this. and you will find strength. This insight is the key to mastering emotions, understanding that it's not the event itself that causes turmoil, but how we perceive and respond to it. When we experience strong emotions, anger, sadness, or anxiety, it often feels as though they are an uncontrollable force, sweeping us away. However, the Stoics believed that emotions arise not from external events, but from our internal judgments about those events. Imagine you text a close friend something heartfelt, but hours pass without a response. Instantly, your mind might leap to conclusions. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Do they not care about me anymore? These thoughts generate emotions: worry, frustration, even resentment. But what is the reality? Perhaps they are simply busy or have not seen the message. The Stoic response in such situations is to pause and ask, what are the facts? By questioning the thoughts that fuel our emotions, we can reduce their intensity and approach the situation more calmly. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means we must take responsibility for our emotional states by examining and challenging the thoughts behind them. For example, when you face criticism, your immediate reaction might be anger or defensiveness. But instead of reacting impulsively, ask yourself, is the criticism valid? What can I learn from this? Is my response aligned with my values? This process transforms criticism from a perceived attack into an opportunity for growth. Rational thought allows you to shift from being controlled by emotions to using them as signals to guide your actions wisely. To practice mastering your emotions through rational thought, try the following steps. Pause and observe. When you feel a strong emotion, pause and take a deep breath. Name the emotion you are experiencing. Question the cause. Ask yourself, what is triggering this emotion? And what am I thinking that is fueling it? Challenge your assumptions. Evaluate whether your thoughts are based on facts or assumptions. Consider alternative explanations. Reframe the situation. Shift your perspective to one that empowers you. Instead of thinking, this is unfair, try thinking, this is a challenge I can learn from. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively, giving you greater emotional resilience. Stoicism does not advocate suppressing emotions, but rather understanding and balancing them with rational thought. Emotions are part of being human, but they should not dictate our actions. Instead, they should inform and complement our reason. By cultivating this balance, we can face life's challenges with clarity and composure. Once we understand that emotions stem from our thoughts, we can focus on the next step, determining where to channel our energy. Stoics remind us to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. This brings us to the next rule, focusing on what you can control. How do we let go of the uncontrollable and direct our efforts toward what truly matters? The answer lies ahead. Rule 3. Focus on what you can control. Life often feels like a storm, with winds of unpredictability and waves of uncertainty crashing into us. Despite our best efforts, plans can falter, people may disappoint us, and outcomes may differ wildly from our expectations. The Stoics understood this chaos well and offered a timeless solution. Focus solely on what you can control and let go of everything else. This principle is not just a key to inner peace, it is a framework for resilience and clarity in an ever-changing world. The dichotomy of control. A life-altering insight. At the core of Stoicism lies the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Some things are within our power, while others are not. What lies within our power? Our thoughts, decisions, actions and attitudes, how we respond to the world around us. What lies beyond our power? Everything external, other people's behavior, events we cannot influence, and outcomes that depend on external factors. When we fail to distinguish between these two realms, we open ourselves to unnecessary suffering. By focusing on things outside our control, we waste energy, build frustration, and become enslaved to circumstances. However, when we focus on what is within our power, we gain clarity, strength, and the freedom to live life on our terms. What happens when you misplace your focus? Imagine you're waiting for a job interview result. Days pass, and anxiety begins to creep in. You might obsess over whether the hiring manager liked you, replay every word you said, and convince yourself that your future hinges on their decision. But ask yourself, what part of this process is within my control? The answer is clear. You've already done your part. You prepared for the interview, showed up, and gave your best effort. The decision now rests in the hands of others, a realm you cannot control. Obsessing over it only drains your energy and prevents you from focusing on productive actions, such as preparing for other opportunities or honing your skills. This misplaced focus is common. We stress over traffic we can't clear, weather we can't change, and opinions we can't sway. But the Stoic response is simple. Recognize what you can control and release everything else. Turning challenges into opportunities. Shifting focus to what you can control is not about passivity, it's about empowerment. Consider this example. You're leading a project at work, and a critical team member misses a deadline, jeopardizing the timeline. Naturally, frustration arises, but rather than dwelling on what went wrong, you ask yourself, what can I do now? You might revise the schedule, redistribute tasks, or communicate with the team to mitigate the impact. By focusing on solutions instead of problems, you reclaim your energy and guide the situation toward a positive outcome. This mindset turns challenges into opportunities for growth. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." A practical guide, mastering the circle of control. To internalize this principle, try the circle of control exercise. Draw 2 circles. On a piece of paper, draw 2 concentric circles. The inner circle represents what you can control, your actions, thoughts, decisions, and effort. The outer circle represents what you cannot control, other people's actions, external events, and outcomes. List your concerns. Write down current challenges or sources of stress. Place each item in the appropriate circle. Shift your focus. For every concern in the outer circle, consciously release your attachment to it. Then, focus your energy on items in the inner circle. Take action. Identify one step you can take to address an item in the inner circle. For example, if you're worried about an upcoming presentation, focus on preparing and practicing rather than worrying about the audience's reaction. This simple exercise trains your mind to redirect energy toward productive efforts, reducing stress and increasing effectiveness. Letting go of what you cannot control is liberating. It frees your mind from unnecessary worry and allows you to channel your energy into meaningful actions. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. When you let go, you don't give up. You step back to focus on what truly matters. For example, you can't control whether someone treats you unfairly, but you can control how you respond, with integrity, patience, and strength. In relationships, this principle becomes even more crucial. You cannot force someone to feel or act a certain way, but you can control how you communicate, set boundaries, and prioritize your emotional well-being. This principle can be applied across all areas of life. Workplace, focus on delivering your best effort instead of stressing over outcomes or recognition. Health, prioritize healthy choices like eating well, exercising, and resting, rather than worrying about illnesses you cannot predict. Parenting, guide your children with love and wisdom, but accept that their decisions and futures are ultimately their own. Each of these scenarios illustrates how focusing on what you can control not only reduces stress, but also enhances your sense of agency and purpose. At first, letting go of what you cannot control might feel unnatural. Society often encourages us to strive for complete control, even over things inherently unpredictable. But as you practice this principle, you'll notice a profound shift. Clarity. You'll stop wasting energy on things you cannot influence. Calmness. You'll face challenges with a steady mind. Confidence. You'll feel empowered to take meaningful actions within your control. Focusing on what you can control builds the foundation for resilience and inner peace. But to truly thrive, we must also learn to release unhealthy attachments and embrace the art of letting go. This brings us to Rule 4, embracing detachment. a practice that helps us find freedom by separating our happiness from external outcomes. Are you ready to explore the liberating power of detachment? Let's continue. Rule 4. Embracing detachment, finding freedom through letting go. In life, we form countless attachments to people, outcomes, possessions, and even our own identities. While these attachments may bring moments of joy, they often lead to pain, anxiety, and frustration when things don't unfold as we wish. Detachment, as taught by the Stoics, is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It is about freeing ourselves from unhealthy dependencies and finding peace in the face of life's uncertainties. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This is the essence of Stoic detachment, appreciating life's gifts while understanding that nothing is truly ours to keep. It's not about rejecting the world but embracing it with clarity and balance, knowing that our inner peace does not depend on external circumstances. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, means understanding the transient nature of all things and refusing to let our well-being hinge on factors outside our control. This doesn't mean you shouldn't care about people or goals. On the contrary, it means engaging fully, but with a mindset that accepts impermanence. The Stoics believe that attachment often stems from mistaken beliefs. For instance, we believe we need certain things or people to be happy. We fear losing what we have, clinging to it even when it no longer serves us. We tie our self-worth to external achievements or possessions. Detachment invites us to challenge these beliefs and recognize that true happiness and strength come from within. Consider a common scenario, a romantic relationship. When things are good, you might feel a profound sense of happiness and fulfillment. But what happens when the relationship ends? If your sense of identity or joy is entirely tied to this relationship, its loss can feel devastating, as if a part of you has been torn away. This pain arises not only from the loss itself, but from our attachment to the idea that the relationship defines us or is essential to our happiness. Detachment doesn't mean avoiding love. It means loving without clinging, appreciating without possessing, and being prepared to let go when the time comes. When we embrace detachment, we gain freedom. We stop being slaves to outcomes and external validation. Instead, we develop the strength to engage with the world fully and let go gracefully when necessary. Detachment allows us to face change with composure. Life is filled with transitions, moving to a new city, ending a career, or losing a loved one. Detachment helps us navigate these changes with resilience. Reduce anxiety. When we're not obsessed with controlling everything, we feel less stressed and more present. Act with integrity. Detachment helps us make decisions based on values, not fears or desires for approval. Epictetus emphasized this idea. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. By aligning our expectations with reality, we find peace in what is. How to practice detachment. Recognize the impermanence of all things. Detachment begins with understanding that nothing lasts forever. People come and go, possessions deteriorate, and situations change. Instead of resisting this truth, the Stoics invite us to embrace it. Practical exercise. Reflect on a cherished possession, relationship, or achievement. Imagine it being taken away, not to cause sadness, but to prepare yourself emotionally. Ask, how would I cope? What would remain meaningful to me? This practice, known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, helps us build resilience and appreciate what we have without clinging to it. Shift your focus inward. The Stoics taught that true freedom comes from within. Instead of depending on external factors for happiness, cultivate inner resources like wisdom, virtue, and self-awareness. Practical exercise. Start a daily journal. Reflect on your actions, values, and areas where you feel overly attached. Ask, am I placing my happiness in something external? How can I redirect this energy inward? Engage fully, but without clinging. Detachment doesn't mean withdrawing from life. It means engaging wholeheartedly while accepting that outcomes are beyond your control. For example, at work, give your best effort, but let go of the need for recognition. In relationships, love deeply, but don't depend on the other person for your sense of self-worth. Practical exercise. When pursuing a goal, focus on the process rather than the result. Ask, am I enjoying the journey, or am I fixated on the destination? Penitentiis. Letting go. Letting go is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. Start small by releasing minor attachments and gradually work toward detaching from larger ones. Practical exercise. Choose a material possession you no longer use. Donate it or give it to someone who needs it more. Notice how it feels to release something and remind yourself that your happiness does not depend on possessions. Embrace the present moment. Attachment often stems from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Detachment helps us focus on the present, where life truly happens. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. By staying grounded in the now, we free ourselves from unnecessary worry and regret." Practical exercise. Practice mindfulness. Take a few minutes each day to observe your thoughts without judgment. Ask, am I fully present, or am I clinging to something outside this moment? Consider John, a successful entrepreneur whose identity was deeply tied to his business. When the company faced a sudden downturn, John felt like his entire world was collapsing. Initially, he clung to the idea of restoring the business at any cost, even sacrificing his health and relationships. But through the principles of Stoicism, John began to shift his perspective. He realized that while he couldn't control the market or the outcome, he could control his response. John chose to focus on rebuilding with integrity, prioritizing his well-being and family. In the end, he not only recovered financially, but also found a deeper sense of purpose and balance. John's story illustrates the power of detachment, letting go of the uncontrollable to focus on what truly matters. Some may worry that detachment leads to apathy. On the contrary, detachment allows us to engage with life more fully and authentically. When we stop clinging to outcomes, we're free to act with purpose and joy, without fear of loss or failure. This balance is beautifully expressed by Seneca. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Detachment teaches us to let go of what no longer serves us, creating space for clarity and peace. But detachment alone is not enough. To truly thrive, we must also cultivate self-mastery, aligning our thoughts, actions, and values. In Rule 5, we'll explore how to build this inner strength and live a life guided by virtue. Are you ready to take the next step? Let's continue. Rule 5. Cultivating self-mastery, aligning your inner world with Stoic virtues. Life is a constant test of character. We are challenged by circumstances, tempted by distractions, and often pulled in directions that lead us away from who we aspire to be. To thrive amidst these challenges, the Stoics believed in the practice of self-mastery, the discipline of aligning our thoughts, actions, and values to live a life of purpose and virtue. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Self-mastery is the ultimate expression of this power. It is not about controlling everything around us, but about governing ourselves, our impulses, reactions, and decisions, so that we act in harmony with our highest values. Self-mastery begins with self-awareness. To master yourself, you must first understand yourself. This includes recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, identifying your values and what truly matters to you, acknowledging habits or tendencies that conflict with your goals. The Stoics taught that the key to self-awareness is regular reflection. Seneca emphasized this practice, writing, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. By examining our thoughts and behaviors, we uncover the fears, desires, and distractions that keep us from living authentically." The benefits of self-mastery. When we cultivate self-mastery, we gain clarity, a clear sense of purpose and direction; resilience, the strength to remain steady in the face of challenges; integrity, consistency between our values and actions, which fosters self-respect and trust from others. Self-mastery is not about perfection, but progress. It's the commitment to strive for alignment between who we are and who we want to become. The obstacles to self-mastery: impulsiveness. In a world of instant gratification, it's easy to act on impulse rather than intention. Whether it's reacting angrily to a comment or making decisions based on fleeting desires, impulsiveness undermines self-mastery. Stoic response: pause before you act. As Epictetus advised, control your passions lest they take control of you. This moment of reflection allows reason to guide your actions instead of emotion. External validation. Many of us are driven by a desire for approval or fear of judgment. This need for external validation often leads us to compromise our values or pursue goals that do not fulfill us. Stoic response: shift your focus inward. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." True self-mastery means valuing your own judgment over the opinions of others. Discipline. Discipline is the cornerstone of self-mastery, yet it is often the first thing to falter when faced with distractions or challenges. Stoic response: cultivate discipline through small, consistent actions. The Stoics believe that progress is made one step at a time. By setting achievable goals and following through, you build the habits necessary for lasting change. How to cultivate self-mastery: your core values. To live with purpose, you must first identify what matters most to you. Your values act as a compass, guiding your decisions and actions. Practical exercise. Take a moment to write down your top 5 values, e.g., honesty, courage, compassion. Reflect on how your current actions align with these values. Ask yourself, what changes can I make to live more authentically? Practice self-reflection. The Stoics valued daily reflection as a tool for self-improvement. At the end of each day, review your actions and thoughts. Practical exercise. Ask yourself 3 questions before bed. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? How can I improve tomorrow? This habit not only fosters self-awareness, but also helps you track your growth over time. Strengthen emotional discipline. Emotional discipline is a key aspect of self-mastery. It means responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Practical exercise. When faced with a challenging situation, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, what would my best self do in this situation? This simple practice creates space for rational thought and helps you act in alignment with your values. Commit to lifelong learning. Self-mastery is an ongoing journey. The Stoics believe that wisdom is cultivated through continuous learning and self-improvement. Practical exercise. Dedicate time each week to study a topic that inspires or challenges you. Reflect on how this knowledge can enhance your life and decisions. Focus on consistency. Over perfection. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Self-mastery is about showing up every day and making incremental improvements. Practical exercise. Choose one habit you want to develop, e.g., waking up early, exercising daily. Start small and commit to consistency, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. A story of transformation. Consider Lisa, a manager at a fast-paced company. Despite her success, she often felt overwhelmed and unfulfilled, torn between professional demands and personal aspirations. Her lack of boundaries and constant need to prove herself led to burnout. Inspired by Stoic principles, Lisa began practicing self-mastery. She defined her values, authenticity, balance, and excellence, and aligned her actions with them. She started setting boundaries at work, dedicating time to personal growth, and reflecting daily on her progress. Over time, Lisa found not only professional success, but also inner peace. By mastering herself, she learned to navigate life with clarity and purpose, no longer swayed by external pressures. Self-mastery is deeply rooted in Stoic virtues. Wisdom, knowing what truly matters and acting accordingly. Courage, facing challenges with strength and integrity. Justice, treating others fairly while staying true to your principles. Temperance, exercising self-control and balance. When we embody these virtues, we live not only for ourselves, but also as examples for others. Self-mastery is not just about individual growth. It creates a ripple effect. When you lead yourself with integrity and purpose, you inspire those around you to do the same. Your actions become a testament to the power of living authentically. As Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Self-mastery ensures that we make the most of the time we have, living with intention and meaning. Self-mastery is the culmination of Stoic practice. It weaves together the lessons of impermanence, rational thought, control, and detachment into a life of purpose and resilience. But the journey doesn't end here. The true challenge lies in applying these principles every day, in every moment. How will you embody the principles of Stoicism in your own life? What small step can you take today toward greater self-mastery? The path is yours to walk. Will you take the first step? Life is a journey filled with uncertainty, challenges, and opportunities for growth. The principles of Stoicism, embracing impermanence, mastering emotions, focusing on what you can control, practicing detachment, and cultivating self-mastery, offer a timeless guide to navigating this journey with clarity, strength, and purpose. But Stoicism is not just a philosophy to be studied. It is a way of life to be lived. It invites us to reflect deeply on who we are, to act with integrity, and to find peace even amidst life's storms. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The power of Stoicism lies in its practicality. These teachings are not abstract ideals. They are tools to be used in the messy, unpredictable reality of daily life. Whether it's finding courage in the face of fear, letting go of attachments that no longer serve us, or simply pausing to reflect on our actions, Stoicism reminds us that we always have a choice. As you move forward, take a moment to ask yourself, what small action can I take today to align my life with my values? How can I respond to challenges with grace and resilience? What would it look like to live fully in the present moment, free from fear of the future or regret of the past? The Stoic path is not about perfection, but progress. It's about striving each day to live authentically, to act with wisdom, and to cultivate inner peace. The journey begins now, with your next thought, your next decision, your next action. Are you ready to take the next step? If the lessons from Stoicism have inspired you, hit the subscribe button to follow our channel. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective on applying these principles to your life. Join us as we continue this journey of exploring timeless philosophies for modern living.